All right, I want you to imagine a place, a realm not made of solid ground, but of living, breathing elements. In the Zohar, it's called the Madora Chamisha'ah, the Fifth Habitation. And look, this is not some quiet, peaceful heaven. No, this is a cosmic chamber that's in constant shimmering motion, woven from this impossible combination of pure fire and pure water. Just picture it. You have these endless waves of ruby red flame. That's the essence of Gevurah, or judgment, and they're pulsing with this incredible, exacting precision. But just before they can consume everything, they're embraced by these cool sapphire blue streams of Chesed, which is just boundless mercy. And this isn't a fight, it's this stunning eternal dance. It's like the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. And right there, inside this dance, are celestial beings, angels whose very forms are made of this rhythm. You know, their essence just flickers between that fiery crimson and this calm azure, embodying the pulse of the universe. They are the living music of this whole symphony. So the entire realm is just humming along in this state of dynamic balance, this immense power held in perfect tension. But as the cosmic clock turns, it feels like all of creation is just holding its breath, waiting for one single pivotal moment, Chatzot midnight. And at that precise instant, a holy north wind starts to blow, and it stirs the entire system, kicking off this profound, sacred recalibration. And as soon as that wind blows, the celestial song begins to rise up, a kind of perfect frequency that flows from this new harmony. And as that song goes higher, a warm, blissful glow starts radiating from Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden itself. This is the signal. It's the sign that the entire system has just entered its most sacred rhythm, a time of connection and divine favor that is just unparalleled.
Wow. I mean, that is just a stunning vision, right? It's like a whole cinematic universe of spiritual physics. But to really get a handle on the mechanics, the sod, the secret of how this all actually works, it really helps to bring in a more modern analytical framework. Okay, let's really dive into this.
So the real question for us is, how do we bridge that ancient poetic vision with a model we can understand today? How do we translate this cosmic dance of fire and water into the language of systems and processes and technology? Well, let's build an analogy.
Okay, so let's think of the Fifth Habitation as a super advanced spiritual computer, a kind of dynamic load balancing system. Its main job isn't just to exist, its job is to process. It has to process all the inputs coming from our world and maintain a perfect cosmic balance between two fundamental opposing forces.
So this system, it basically has two main operational modes. When it flips into judgment mode, that's the ruby red fire of Gevurah, it processes every single action, every prayer, every input with this strict, pinpoint justice. Absolutely nothing gets overlooked. But then it oscillates into mercy mode, which is that cool sapphire blue water of Chesed. And in this mode, those exact same inputs are processed with boundless, sweetening compassion. The system is just constantly flickering between these two incredibly powerful states.
So what's managing all this? What keeps the system from getting stuck in just pure, harsh judgment or, just pure, unstructured mercy? Well, that is the job of the Sephirah of Tiferet, which literally means beauty or harmony. You can think of Tiferet as the central processing unit, the harmonizing oscillator. It's the force that masterfully blends the red and the blue states, making sure the whole dance is rhythmic, balanced, and creates this beautiful, functional whole.
And this brings us right back to that critical moment, midnight. And look, this is not just a time on your watch. In this cosmic system, midnight is the most important scheduled event of the day. It's a full, system-wide recalibration that unlocks a whole new level of function.
So if we stick with our tech analogy, we can call this the midnight cron job. Now, for anyone who's not in tech, a cron job is just a command that automatically runs scheduled tasks at a very specific time. Well, midnight, Chatzot, is exactly that. It's a time-based trigger that kicks off this whole cascade of high-priority spiritual processes, all designed to harmonize the entire divine apparatus.
And this midnight protocol, it unfolds in three basic steps. First, the north wind awakens. That's the trigger. That's what starts the whole recalibration. Second, the celestial song rises. You can think of this like a system feedback loop, this beautiful sound that confirms all the parts are now working together in harmony. And third, once that harmony is locked in, divine delight flows. That's the final output, a blissful, perfected energy that streams right into the Garden of Eden.
Okay, so we've seen the poetic vision, we've looked at the high-level system architecture. Now let's get into the weeds. Let's really dig into the underlying Sephirotic engineering. We're talking about the specific spiritual physics, the colors, and even the numbers that make this realm tick.
So let's talk about this north wind, because this is so important. Kabbalistically, the direction north is always the domain of Gevurah, of judgment. So this wind is an awakening of accountability. It's a call for truth. It's a stirring that kind of forces a system check. But, and this is the key part we learn from sources like Lukatei Hashas, this is not a destructive wind. Because it's blowing into a realm that's already saturated with the blue waters of Chesed, this wind of judgment is immediately sweetened. It becomes a process of refinement, a sharpening of truth that happens inside this overwhelmingly compassionate environment.
And you can literally see this whole process happening in the color dynamics. If you follow along here, the realm's normal state is this constant flicker, red to blue, but at midnight, during that harmonization process managed by Tiferet, those colors actually merge. The fierce red and the gentle blue are woven together, and they resolve into something totally new, a brilliant, pure white light. And this is the light of Rahamim, perfected compassion, which is the ideal balance of both loving kindness and disciplined truth.
Now, why is it called the Fifth Habitation? You know the number is never just random. In Kabbalistic texts like the Sefer HaPlilia, the number 5 is deeply, intrinsically linked to the Sephra of Gevurah. So calling this the Fifth Habitation is basically a code. It's telling us that this realm's primary job, its whole reason for being, is to integrate and refine the power of judgment. It's the cosmic chamber specifically built to handle the intense energy of Gevurah and weave it into creation in a balanced, beautiful way.
And this quote from the Zohar just pulls it all together perfectly. It explains why this midnight event is so powerful. It's described as the precise moment when the divine presence is most available, when a direct channel opens right into Gan Eden. So this isn't just a system recalibrating itself in a vacuum. No, it's an appointment. It's a scheduled window of supreme divine favor and connection, a huge opportunity for the prayers of anyone who is awake and learning to join in with that celestial song.
Okay, this is obviously some incredibly deep and layered material. You've got a realm of fire and water, a cosmic cron job, Sephirotic color theory. I mean, it's a lot to hold in your head all at once. So to make this even clearer and more accessible, let's offer 2 really simplified, relatable models for getting a handle on the Fifth Habitation.
So we're going to look at this through 2 different lenses. For those of you who think in stories and interactive worlds, we're going to use a video game lens. And for those who think more in flowcharts and schematics, we'll use a cosmic engineering lens. It's just 2 different ways to describe the same incredible reality. All right, let's put on the video game goggles for a second. Imagine you're playing a level called the Midnight Spire. The environment itself is totally dynamic. It's always shifting between fire mode, where everything's really strict and challenging, and water mode, where things are healing and a lot more forgiving. Now, the main event in this level triggers at midnight. It's called Midnight Harmony. And suddenly, the fire and water don't just switch anymore, they swirl together, creating brand new pathways and opportunities. Your objective? Be active right at that moment, collecting the celestial song notes that pop up, which get you power-ups and special bonuses. And the ultimate reward for doing all this is you unlock a secret area, the Garden of Eden, where you can gather divine delight treasures. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, now let's pull up the engineering schematic. The system operates in what we'd call biphasic operational states. You have state G for Gevurah's judgment and state C for Chesed's mercy. The midnight wind is simply a time-triggered recalibration cycle. This cycle initiates a system-wide resonance cascade. That's the celestial song, which creates a stable, harmonious frequency across the board. The result of this successful cascade is an optimized, harmonious energy output. That's the divine delight, which is then channeled through the system's foundation and recedes by the lower worlds, which we see manifested as the Garden of Eden.
So, whether you see it as a video game level or a complex engineering system, the core idea is exactly the same. This isn't about one force winning out over the other. It's all about a great integration, a design that finds its highest expression in the delight of a perfect, dynamic balance.
And really, that's the central lesson of the Fifth Habitation. Fire and water, judgment and mercy, these forces that we so often think of as being locked in this eternal conflict, are in fact designed to be partners. They're designed to dance, to challenge each other, and through that dynamic tension, to unite into something higher, something more perfected. It's a living, breathing, self-perfecting system.
And this leaves us with a really profound question. The entire system pivots at midnight, right? The deepest point of physical darkness. And it's precisely then that this incredible process of harmony begins, revealing a whole new potential for light. It kind of suggests that the greatest moments of illumination are actually scheduled to awaken when things seem to be at their darkest. It's like a scheduled appointment with perfect balance. Ultimately, what the Zohar is describing here in the Fifth Habitation is so much more than mystical physics. It's really a doctrine of hope. It gives us a model that suggests that balance and integration and redemption, they aren't just afterthoughts or some kind of emergency patch. They are literally encoded into the very architecture of the cosmos, an essential part of the divine plan from the very, very beginning.
Thank you so much for joining us on this complete journey through the Pardes. We really hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week.
And if you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please do us a favor and like, subscribe, and maybe share which part of this journey really touched your soul in the comments. We'd love to know which model made more sense to you, the video game or the engineering schematic. We'll see you in the next chapter.